Hi, I'm Bernstein, and welcome to Everything Neurodiversity.
And I'm Marcia Eckerd, and our topic for today is super important. It's the topic of masking. And when we're talking about adults, we talk about it as camouflaging, of always having to be what's expected, do what's expected. But when we're thinking about kids, it comes down to the gold standard being teaching kids to conform. Make eye contact, don't move, don't do that, don't look different, don't stim. And the essence is conformity.
Right.
And you won't make it in the world if you can't get through, if you can't do this.
Yeah, and there's so many different angles to how important this is that after we speak to people after they do this masking for 20 years, they lose who they are in a very literal way.
But parents and just teachers and parents are under a great deal of pressure to teach the kid to be appropriate. And so what we're going to address right now is, how do you manage that balance? How do you help a kid to kind of navigate through the day and at the same time be authentic, at the same time feel validated as who I am is okay, who I am is a good person.
And there's a range, right? We want our kids and ourselves to comb our hair before we leave the house. Okay, that's, normal, right? For most of us. But there's a point where the kids are taught to do something other than who they are. Like flapping or eye contact or,
right. And, I think that if you look at any kindergarten poster, you see it says something like, this is how we listen. We have, eyes and still hands and all this kind of stuff that maybe not our kid. And so there's a combination, really, of teaching the child to, skills and how to do it in a way that's authentic for them, but also getting understanding that there can be strategies and there can be ways of helping the child. So a child we understand early on, and then we help the child say, I listen to you a lot better when I don't look you right in the eye.
Right.
And what I really want to do is pay attention and hear what you're saying. And by the time they're a teenager or adult, we want them to be able to say that. But when they're younger, giving the idea that you have to make eye contact, even if you can't hear what I'm saying, even if you're anxious, even if it means that you give up learning the lesson.
Right. Those things become the goal.
Right.
To
exactly.
so-called normalize the kid, and without what's really important, what's underlying that, like understanding the lesson.
Often kids are told to do what they're expected to do in a very rote parody kind of way. So you're going to approach somebody and ask 3 questions, or you're going to give a compliment, or you're going to, you're going to show a smile. And the fact is, the kid may have no interest in approaching those kids, or the kid may have had the experience that approaching those kids just means they're going to get, slimed and teased, or the kid may not be interested in asking them a question.
Yeah, I went to a social skills class. I'm in the class observing, the kid and the teacher, and the social skills expert comes into the class for 45 minutes. She hands out a handout, and one of the questions was, what do you do when somebody comes into your group for the first time? And you're supposed to say, oh, hello, welcome, and it's like, that doesn't resonate with these kids.
Right, and so I think one of the things that we want to get across is that it's important for kids to understand the outcome of behavior. If you don't say hello to someone who says hello to you, how might they take that? But at the same time, trying to tell a kid whose facial expression isn't very expressive, you have to smile at everybody, so they're forcing this, even when it feels so unnatural to them, or they're forcing having to look interested when they really aren't. I mean, as adults, would we really spend our time hanging out with somebody who is totally uninteresting? And so I think what we need to do is look at what are the kids' goals? What does the kid want to achieve? And how do we do a combination of helping the kid achieve what they want and also informing people how to accept differences? How
That's
to,
good.
it's, you can, when you're an adult, you can get Americans with Disabilities Act accommodations for breaks or movement or needing what you need. Somehow that doesn't seem to apply to schools, and I don't think that applies to schools in other countries as well, that you're expected to behave in a particular way that you might be able to have more control over as you get older.
You're right. You're making a very good point. Sometimes that everyone else needs to accept that a child doesn't make eye contact or needs to move in order to listen better. And it's a we thing. It's a systemic thing of having these kids be who they are without forcing them one way, or maybe they force themselves to be like everybody else because somebody calls them weird, and now they're traumatized by it.
Yeah, but they're told to force themselves. That's our point. They may get that feeling automatically. Many girls do, that I have to do this. But certainly validating how they really feel, helping them feel that it's okay to let your hair down. It's okay to be you. And how do you navigate a situation where maybe you are uncomfortable being you, and you need to figure out, well, what am I going to do?
I think we should continue this conversation. Please respond. We're talking about kids mostly, right? But also adults. So let's keep this conversation going.
And you can contact either of us. Our information about our websites is I think in the information about the YouTube channel. So thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.